Well, there you go, guys. It is no European football for Newcastle United next season, as somehow Manchester City do not turn up in the cup final and Manchester United end up winning the game 2-1. It's a real kick in the teeth. I mean, it'll be a kick in the teeth for Man City and their fans, but even more so for us as Newcastle United fans. We were genuinely thinking we'd done enough to make Europe, and of course, expecting Manchester City to win the game. But credit to Manchester United, as much as we say we don't like them, etc., they got their tactics spot on today, and they got everything right in that cup final to defeat Manchester City. They rode the luck at times in the second half, but to be honest, they did what they needed to do to win the game. And you have to give credit to Manchester United today, who were given no chance of winning the FA Cup, but then they've turned up and done exactly that. But this is about Newcastle United and not being in Europe, and what does that mean for next season? Well, who knows? I mean, look, a lot of people have been saying in the days leading up to the cup final, if we lose this, then it's highly likely that one of our top superstars will go, be that Bruno, Isak. If anyone's to go, I would say it's Bruno, okay, because of the situation with his release clause, etc. I don't think anyone's got enough money in the world to get Isak out of Newcastle, or Anthony Gordon for that matter. So I'm not particularly worried about those two. I have to say that I am worried about losing Bruno. And it will kill me to lose Bruno. It will kill all Newcastle fans to lose Bruno, unless we can convince him that next season we are going to give it everything to finish in the top four, to finish in the cup competitions, to start winning things with Newcastle United. Because at the end of the day, that is what will hold on to Bruno. But if a Real Madrid or let's say a Manchester City come in, it's going to be very difficult to hang on, because Bruno is a winner. He wants to win trophies. And as much as he loves Newcastle United, a footballer's career, guys, is very short. Remember that. And it may just be that Bruno, he'll just say, I need to win things, guys. I need to go. I need to win things with the football team. And Manchester City or Real Madrid or whoever it may be will offer me the chance to do that. Now, if you're looking at players who will be leaving, then it looks like Dummett and Ritchie now won't get their contracts extended because we won't be in Europe next season. Eddie Howe made that very clear in an interview in Australia, that those two players would possibly get contract extensions if Newcastle were in Europe next season for the homegrown situation, etc. We haven't got to worry about that now for next season. So I highly expect Dummett and Ritchie to leave. There is no need to keep them on at the club now at all. No need. They need to be gone. This is where, for me, because we're not in Europe next season, this is where we need to start rebuilding properly by removing the deadwood from the football club, bringing in fresh faces, and really giving it our all next season. We now have to convince players to come to the club without European football. Now, that is down to the skills of who we're going to bring in as director of football, Eddie Howe, Darren Eales, all of them at the top have now got to have the skills to make sure that these players, we sell the project to these players now that we're not in Europe. Because I don't care what anybody says, players will always look to see if that team is going to be playing in European football, and it doesn't matter which one it is. You get a much bigger pulling power as a football club if you're playing in Europe, but we're not. So now it's going to be very, very difficult for the hierarchy to convince really elite players to come to this football club. Now, yes, you could say we can pay money, we've got the wages there, we can get these players in, but we are restricted still by FFP, PSR, whatever you want to call it, unless we get revenue start to come through the door. Now, next season, I truly believe if we can keep the squad in place and bring in a few fresh faces, we can make a big challenge next season without having European football. Sometimes it can work in your favour, just to have that one season where you can start rebuilding all over again and keep your talent there. Build a squad around the star players such as Bruno and Isak, Anthony Gordon, etc. We've got Tonali coming back next year. It's very, very important that we look past this disappointment in a way and try and focus on a few positives of what we could do in the summer. Because right now it hurts that we're not in Europe. There's no doubt about that. It really hurts. Because I was thoroughly expecting Manchester City to turn up today and win the FA Cup. I did not think for 1 second that it would be Manchester United going up them steps to lift the trophy. But like I said, credit to them. They are lifting the trophy. And that's knocked us out of Europe. And it hurts a little bit more because it's always Man United that always stab us in the back, always get one over us. we were making fun of finishing above them in the league, and it ain't worked. They've gone and won the cup and dumped us out of Europe for next season. But, I'm trying to look at positives here because I'm hurting as a Newcastle fan because I was expecting Europe next season. It's not happening. And that's what hurts. But let me know. Let me know in the comments what you think's going to happen now. Does this mean that we're not going to be able to bring the standard of player that we want to bring in? Or do you think we have what it takes at the top end of the management system to really convince these players, sell them what the project is at Newcastle United? And yes, look, we're only a couple of years into this project with the new owners. It was always going to take a long time. And when you're coming from an absolute bag of shit to a takeover like we've had, there is always going to be ups and downs in that journey. And today is one of them downs where we had an opportunity to get to Europe and we haven't. But listen, it was in our hands, guys. If we're openly honest, it was in our hands with 3 games to go. Just get the job done and we don't have to rely on any other team, right? That's, for me, where we blew it anyway, because we didn't perform in those games against Brighton and against Manchester United. We didn't turn up. Yeah, we beat Brentford, but the damage was already done. And you have to look at that and say, right, did we play well enough? No, we didn't. We didn't turn up for those games where it really, really mattered to get the points and secure it ourselves. So then you start relying on other teams. And once you start relying on other teams, that's when you are really in a pickle because, guys, we've seen time and time again that it doesn't work. Relying on other teams, you're really walking a tightrope. And unfortunately for Newcastle United, that tightrope was trying to get Manchester City over the line in the FA Cup, and it didn't happen. I'm gutted, if I'm openly honest. I'm gutted that we're not playing Europe, but I'm trying to look at the positives and think, right, can we convince players still to come to this club next season? Can we sell them what we're trying to do? And if we can, and we can build the squad and not lose too many players, get rid of the deadwood, but not lose too many players, we can still do it next season. We can still be up there in the top 4 and make a real challenge for the domestic cups. And then we look beyond that. Just reset everything. Make sure that you're talking to your stars about staying and what we want to bring in, and then move on. Because I think we have to. We've got no choice now. The disappointment of not getting into Europe, that's happened. We now need to just chill out, reset, and go again next season. I know there's people, there was people in the chat today on our Matchday Live having a go at Eddie Howe and all of that. I don't agree with it. I really don't. I think, you know what? Those same people would have been saying, Eddie's done a remarkable job had Man City won the game and he still got us into Europe. But it's not happening. But I'm not looking at Eddie Howe. I don't want Eddie Howe going anywhere. Some people do want him sacked. I don't. I really do believe Eddie Howe can take us to that next level and hopefully start with that next season. But as I say, let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think this is a massive blow, or do you think it's just a little reset, a little bump along the way to getting to where we finally want to be and achieve things that we finally want to achieve? Or do you think this is a massive blow, especially to holding on to players like Bruno and bringing in quality players in the transfer window? I'm very interested to know what you guys think. But thank you for watching. It's been a pleasure. And thank you to everybody that tuned in for Matchday Live earlier on today. Please do give it the thumbs up if you've enjoyed the video. And of course, if you're new and you like what you see, hit that subscribe button. We're well on the way to 30k now. So thank you very much. But don't forget to hit the notification bell. And that will let you know when we upload videos such as this or we schedule in our live shows. But it's not to be for Europe for Newcastle United. We'll see you tomorrow for the transfer show at 7 p.m. In the meantime, take care.